Hello, ladies and gents, real estate agents, title companies, people in real estate, people who like real estate marketing. How are you today? It is a new year. It is 2017, and we are back. I apologize. I took last week off, but that was only because I was hanging out with my family, and I think I deserve at least 1 week a year. What do you think about that, Shane?
I think we all have to take time,
Ooh,
regroup, and I'm ready to launch into 2017. So I'm ready to roll.
so am I. And whoa, I didn't even introduce my guest. This is a repeat guest, okay? This is Shane Pendley from Paris Inc. And the last time we had you on, Shane, we talked about video marketing, but there's another area that you concentrate in, and we're not going to be talking about videos today. We're going to be talking about what? Doom,
Yeah.
ding.
So with yeah. So today, what we're gonna first and foremost, thank you so much for having me back, and I think it's that you feel comfortable, so you didn't have to introduce me,
Yeah,
right?
everyone
So
everyone should know you now as long as you guys have been listening to the damn podcast. So listen to the podcast, but
yes.
let's talk
Yeah,
about what we're going to
I
talk
got some
today.
great phone calls, people who called in and reached out to me afterwards.
Good.
So obviously we're reaching millions, right?
Yeah, I hope. I wish we get to millions. One day we will. But you guys, what we're going to be talking about today is going to be direct mail farming. This is another area that Shane knows a lot about. As you guys know, I bring in a lot of outside guests on our podcast and even also within our software, Tractor. And it's because he's an expert in that field, you know. So, Shane, really, really quick, we're going to go through direct mail farming. We're going to answer a lot of agent questions that they have. I know you get them all the time. I get them on my blog. But really, really quick, what would you say the very first biggest hesitant obstacle that you see real estate agents have when it comes to direct mail farming? Let's address the elephant out of the room. There's one or two common questions. I want to see if we're in the same mentality here,
Sure.
same
Yeah.
wavelengths. And there's a couple questions that seem to be recurring when it comes to direct mail farming. So, what is the most frequently questioned? And let's start with that because what I want to do today is just dispel the myths associated with direct mail and all that stuff, right? And direct mail farming. So,
Yeah,
what's the biggest hesitant?
absolutely.
Why isn't
I
everyone
would
doing it?
say I've got so many people that come to me, and the two biggest things they say: number one, how do we tracking it? I was with another company, couldn't track it. I didn't know if it was really going out, and that is actually the number one complaint with agents is that I've been reading recently is being able to track your direct mail. The
So,
other thing is it still relevant?
yeah,
So is it, or do we need to go to online and do we need to start doing and buying leads
love
and
it.
or do you need to farm an area? But if you are, man, you got to stay consistent. That's the
Yeah.
name of the game.
All right, hold on, slow down, because we're going to get to that. These are all really good points. I think we could literally have a whole show on these 2 points right here. So one is direct mail still work, and then the biggest question is they're essentially asking for their ROI. What's my return on investment if I implement a marketing strategy on this,
Oh,
so they could track it, right? They want, and real
right.
estate agents want things done tomorrow. You know, most of us are D personalities, right? So we're all thinking, I want this done today, and we want to sell a house, and we don't want to put in the time generally into a longer term marketing strategy, which is direct mail really is. So you just hit on something. You said consistency. So if you're saying right off the bat, and I'm assuming that if I only farm an area for 1 month, am I going to get great results?
Well, here's the thing. I have a lot of people that will come to me and go, well, I farmed and I tried to, I picked this area and I farmed and I go, how long did you do it for? And they said a couple months.
Yep.
To me, that's equivalent to going to the gym and saying, okay, I need to go to the gym. I'm going to work out, but I'm only going to do it once and I'm going to expect results.
Sure.
Like anything else, you have to stay consistent with it. Pick an area, and I'm going to say one thing straight out of the gate: be the data expert in that area.
Okay.
So what does that mean? You've got to know that area. What's the conversion in that area? Average selling price in there. Are you involved in the community? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you could be doing. And I had somebody in this morning that we were going through this, and he's thinking, hey, I just need to send a template mailer out
Mm-hmm.
and something that just says, hey, opportunities knocking, something like that. And I'm saying you have got to connect with
Trying to,
your
yeah.
area.
They're
They
trying
need
to
to know
sell.
who
They're
you
trying
are.
to do an advertisement versus a marketing campaign. And there's a big difference. They're trying to generate leads versus maintain presence, right?
Yes, exactly. So they have to, it's, I ask this question all the time. What is the first mailer that you should send out? If you're just starting to campaign, what do you think the first mailer what do you think the number one
I don't
answer
know.
is?
What?
Uh,
Something about me. Or how long I've been in the
yeah,
business.
I'm introducing myself and the team and who we are, and this is who I am. And that's the last thing, because
Yeah.
you just told the whole neighborhood you're brand new,
Yeah. No
or at
one,
least to brand new and farming that area.
and no one cares about
So
them.
no one cares. So I would say, hey, throw in an annual report. Tell people what's being sold in that area. Show activity. Show that unique selling. I mean, you've got to bring something to the table
Sure.
with people so they can see, hey, I'm involved in the community. I'm doing certain things in the neighborhood. I'm part of this neighborhood. Here's what's selling. When they think of real estate, they need to think of you.
So, and the main goal here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just to play devil's advocate, the main goal of even doing a direct mail farming campaign, what's my main objective as an agent? Why am I going to go ahead and do a direct mail farming campaign? Let's say I picked out my area, and we'll talk about picking out different markets and whatnot. Why am I doing this? I want to what?
Well, you're looking to be the main person in that area.
The
There's
go-to
a
pro.
couple industry leaders
Yeah.
that will all say there's one thing every single top producer has in common, and that is they are the local expert. They farm an area, they dominate a certain area, and I would say, however you need to do that. I think direct mail really lends to that. I think it really gives something that it can. Now, if you do it properly, believe me, that's one of the first slides that I usually show when I do presentations on farming direct mail. Is I say, hey, if you send it to me, I'm going to show it, and I show sometimes some of the pieces, and I'm like, I can't believe that somebody sent this out. Mm-hmm. So show it to somebody else before you send it out. Put a campaign together. Don't put a mailer together.
Got it. Okay, so first thing, I'm a realtor, and I want to do a direct mail farming campaign to a certain local geographic area, and I'm doing it to maintain market presence so that I'm the go-to pro in that geographic area. It's probably the neighborhood I live in or a neighborhood I work frequently, right? I'm not going to farm. I'm in Chicago, so I'm not going to go farm the entire city of Chicago. I'm going to farm Lincoln Park. That's the area I live in where my market presence is at and whatnot. So now how long should I commit to a direct mail farming campaign to expect to see results? Am I looking at 3 months? Am I looking at 6 months? Walk me through what I need to know first before I commit to a campaign so I can start working in my head what the ROI, how much is it going to cost and all that.
I think the average statistic comes out that at least 8 touches. It needs to hit at least 8 months. And so with that, I'll go with that and say 8 months. I need you to farm an area. But if you can't afford 12 months, don't even consider doing it.
Sure. Good. Very, very good point. So this is playing the long game. Okay, we're not looking for Zillow leads. We're not looking for we're not transactional broker at this point in the sense that I'm just looking to sell houses and make money. I'm looking to play the long game, build a market presence, create a demand within the market so that people know who the hell I am, so that when my other marketing or more advertising related activities sort of come into play, they're like, oh yeah, I know that dude. I know that person. I've seen them before. Oh yeah, they're my direct mail. Is that sort of the strategy here? Sort of how this works? It sort of helps build that overall brand?
Yeah, so people come to me and there's different companies out there, and they're going to bring certain things like who they feel is most likely to be moving or who's going. But you really don't know if somebody's lost their job or they're getting a divorce, or there's certain reasons why. But I like to farm like I play the board game Risk. You know that game?
Mm-hmm. I haven't played it in a long time, but yeah, I remember it.
It's world domination. And you start with a small country and then you expand from there. Same concept. Be that person, farm that area, but there's also ways to scrub out the absentees and the renters and the multifamilies and all of those things. So you can pinpoint more directly on your area. But I would say go to more of a level of talking about, bring something of what's happening in the community, do events, bring awareness to your neighborhood so that you become more of just the agent trying to get a listing.
Right. You know everything going on in the community. You're the community expert as compared to being the real estate expert, right? All right,
Exactly.
so I signed up for 8 months. Now let's talk about how we would select a market because I just caught on to something you're saying. I'm an agent. I want to farm a neighborhood, but I don't know where to start or what market to pick in. Like, so in Chicago, there's several different zip codes and several different markets, and we're a very dense population. So, there could be a freaking million people within a mile of me, literally, but I'm not going to spend a million mailers a month. So, what because there are companies out there that are they're like, oh, I'm going to look at this stats and I'm going to do this, and these people are more likely to move, and that's all likely to move. So at the end of the day, what's BS and what's not, because I agree with you. I don't think you could plan when
Right.
somebody's going to be moving, but you could pick data of like targeting just homeowners versus targeting renters, right?
Yes.
So
And
let's
I'll
go through that.
Yeah, so if you take out that, and I also do a lot of mailing programs for refi for lenders,
Hmm.
and so one of those things they're looking at is okay, so I'm pulling certain data of like, how many thousands in debt are they? What's the equity? What's the no house over 500,000, and just really narrow that down. Well, we can do the same thing for an agent. So let's say, and I don't know if we're going to talk about EDDM, but I'm just going to
Yeah,
share
I
with
think we
you
should.
just a little bit on EDDM. For me, I'll look at a route in EDDM. Let's say that there's 1,200 home, that fit. I'll take out the PO boxes. I take out the absentee. I mean, I take out the businesses. And then with that, I scrub that, and I'm going to take out even more. So I'm going to add the address to it. I'm going to add the name to it, and I'm going to take out all the absentees and take out the renters, take out all that stuff that really narrow. And usually about 20 to 25% fall off of that.
So EDDM, guys, is every door direct mail, which is just a much less expensive way to get the direct mail into someone's mailbox. All right, so you save a ton on postage because what happens is that the postman carries a bunch of your marketing materials with them, and they insert one in every mailbox within that route. Correct?
Correct. But also with that, it's you become, and this is what I did a presentation. I had the postmaster in my presentation, and it was one of the funniest presentations that I think I've ever done. Because one that I said, with EDDM, the problem wasn't the printer's problem or the agent's problem or even the neighborhood. It was the guy delivering the mail because there's no
Yeah.
name on it, there's no address on it. And I'll give you an example. We had I had a client that was in New York, and it was a high-rise building. It was a EDDM. All the mailboxes were in the building.
Yep.
So the mailman went in. He didn't feel like putting them all in the mailbox, so he
Correct.
put them on the table
That's
in
what
the
happened to
lobby.
me. That same thing happened to me. They put it in my own where I lived. My own residence was on that route. So then I saw all my postcards at the time. The place I lived, there's 14 units in there, so it wasn't a lot, but there were 14 postcards on next to the mailboxes, and they weren't inside of the mailboxes. That's a really good point.
Yeah. So with that, just think of that. So you've got now 20% that are fun that you don't even need to send to. So I'm going to ask you this: how economical is it? If you're sending to 20 to 25% more, and then you have things that happen on this, and then also that mailman is getting to the, have you ever gone to your mailbox and you got like two or three of the same thing in your mailbox, and it's almost like
Yeah.
uh, you thought of that person, like, why is that person sending me two
Right.
or three different, and
Oops,
it's
that's
not
a
that,
mistake. It's the mailman.
it's the mailman,
So are you
right?
saying
So
every door direct, no? Stamped postage, yes? Once you narrow down your
yes,
list?
when I first started out years ago, I was doing EDDM for people, and then I just stopped. I couldn't track it. I couldn't do anything. All I could do is just a hope and a wish and a dream, hoping it got there.
Hmm.
So I took what I was hearing from agents is, hey, I want it tracked. So we put a tracking program together. If you are thinking about doing direct mail with a company, I would say make sure that they are able to track what they're mailing out. And that was one of the first things that I did. I started looking at tracking the other thing is put a name on it, put an address on it, because if I have a name and address, I know that mailman's not putting three or four in the same mailbox.
Yeah. No, I'm
You
totally
know?
with you because you do see a lot of times agents, and you guys, what we're talking about here is a really important point. We're talking about quality versus quantity, and typically, our minds tell us that more is better always, and for the average agent too. And what you're saying is that roughly 25, maybe even more percent of the people that would receive your direct mail on a every door direct mail route is waste anyways. So at the end of the day,
Right.
you're probably better off going to a more targeted list And although, yeah, postage per piece might cost you a couple more cents when you all said and done, I bet you that those numbers end up equating out at the end of the day.
Mike, I'll tell you what, and I'm simply doing it from my business, right? So I'm looking at clients that come in, and I'll even open up. I'll go to the eddm.usps, and I'll pull up the routes, show the routes. I'll pull those routes from the zip code, and then I will scrub those, and then we will compare that number with the number that I scrubbed, and it is usually 20 to 25% fall off of that. Yeah. Unless it's a high populated area of multifamily and townhouses and apartments and all of that.
Got it. All right. So back to the actual picking my marketplace. What's your best advice for an agent? Because I see that question quite a bit. Is like, all right, how do I pick the right farm market? How do I do this? How do I do that? Is there an answer to that, or should it just be like, dude, pick the market you work the best, and there's going to be turnover in every freaking market? Like, can I overanalyze this to this point where I just go absolutely insane?
It is literally a personal preference. I mean, I like to say, hey, you need to farm where you live, somewhere where you're close. If you're going to, and you're at a restaurant and you're sitting in there and somebody walks up to you and say, hey, I know you, I get your mailers and so on, job done. Right. So I would say if you live in that area, frequent those cafes and the coffee shops and the places like that, and go during the busy time. If you're in the middle of a campaign and you're farming a certain area, visit those areas. You're in the social business. So with that, or you may say, man, I really want to get into this area. And I'll have this. People will call and say, I really want to get into the luxury market. I want to start farming a luxury market, but it's about 15, 20 minutes away from me. And then I will really put them through a lot of questions like, why you want to go there? Do you understand it takes a little longer to get yourself established in a luxury market? Mm-hmm. You have to, really go through that. So are you willing to kind of sit on a campaign for about a year and maybe just get a couple hits?
Yeah. And Noah's great at this. Our mutual friend, Mike Bjorkman, with his local branding. I mean, he goes out, Mike Bjorkman, you guys, he did a podcast with us as well about how to host a local celebrity brand. But is Mike actually farming?
Direct mail farming? Yes, he is. Okay, so we go back and forth
without people knowing him. He owns Santa Clarita. He's like a mini celebrity in Santa Clarita, and he's just everyone knows him. He's like, dude, if I go out to dinner, I can't even have a quiet dinner with my wife. I'm gonna have like 4 people come up to me and just be like, oh, you're that Bjorkman guy, because he's just such a good branding marketing agent. He's awesome at it. All right.
Yeah. Okay. But he is his brand. I mean, that's a big part of it. I always look at it this way. When you're driving on the road and you see a yard sign, and how much time do you get to look over at that yard sign? Not very long. So what's your brand? What are you doing? What's the image that you're portraying? And that's why I also find that, again, just with my clients, the people that have proper branding, logos, bigger pictures of themselves, of who they are, just that brand and their photos, get a 20% higher return on their investment on their campaign.
Interesting.
So again, consider that if you've got a proper brand, you've got photos, and don't give me a photo that's your high school senior
shot.
Post.
Yeah, my glamour shot.
Don't give me that.
When I had like 6-pack and I'm all ripped.
Yeah.
Yes. You see me now, you're like, what the hell is that? Who is that?
Well, I had this morning. I had a client that was in my chair. We were kind of going through everything, and he's on board. I said, "What kind of photos do you have?" And he showed me his one photo, and I went, "No." I said, "So that first thing we need to do is let's get a photographer." Listen, if you're farming is not cheap. It is not. It's an investment, and that investment should be taken to the point that you become that data expert. You do whatever you can do to get established. So first thing, let's have a proper brand. Let's have proper photos. What is the message that we're putting out there? Sometimes with people, I've got another client that he's just a very aggressive, hard driver, wants to just send out just sold and just listen. And I said, listen, we got to soften you up in the neighborhood, right? So people know that you're
humanize the brand.
Yeah. Right. So with that, you've got to consider, what is your personality type? If you are this hard driver personality, hey, what about softening up? Here's another thing. Who do you farm to? Like, who is the main person that you think that should be looking at these mailers, or who looks at these mailers? Right. I mean, when they go to the mailbox, who's getting the mail?
Yep. I
mean, that's something too. And I know with that, 80% of people that get the mail are usually women. So with that, if you can I mean, you think about all the different messages and all the different things that you can put on a card and so on. But and also, if it's 80%, it's usually one person going to the mailbox. So consider if it's 80% women on that, what are you putting out there?
Yep. I shouldn't be
So
talking about I shouldn't be talking about sports per se. Maybe not that women don't like sports. Okay, I'm gonna get thrown under the bus for that one. I shouldn't be talking
Okay,
about like
well, no, that's
weightlifting.
a great one, because let me just say this: if I have clients that do they give away tickets to sporting events.
Sure.
So if you do we're doing a drawing. Go on Facebook, like the page, that you can register this. And then we're going to do a drawing, and then all of a sudden, now that she's going to take this into her husband and say, "Hey, 2 free tickets. Do you want me to register online with this?" But here's the thing: you become that person. If I believe you got to give to get.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah,
So let's
absolutely.
say I do a gift mailer. I send something out about sports, or I give tickets away, or I do some type of a local restaurant. I just picked up like an appetizer. I'm going to give it away for free. I put that on the mailer. Now I'm promoting that restaurant, and I give something of value. Do you think they're going to look at my next mailer I send the following month, or you know?
More likely. Yeah.
So
And if
I'm
you
just
could make
trying to
someone even
bring
chuckle.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could just make anything to make like for essentially what a lot of this stuff I personally haven't done direct mail farming. We are starting this year. However, I essentially farm my relationships. I'm big in referral generation, right? It's the same concept. And
Right.
the direct mail pieces that we send to our relationships don't ever talk about real estate. All right.
Oh yeah.
The goal of those is just to make someone smile, just to make someone chuckle. It's toilet humor, in other words, and it's just there to stay on top of mind. And we send out shit on off the wall holidays like Valentine's Day and Groundhog's Day. Like who sends people shit like that? It's because I'm just trying to remain on top of mind, right? And
And
that's the play.
yes.
That's
Yeah.
the whole key.
Or think about this. Think if you could go through each month and say what would be the number one mailer you should send in January?
Yeah.
What's the number
Um,
one? It
like a
should be an
work.
annual
Yeah.
report. Annual report of everything that's sold in that area for 2016. Right? Hey,
Interesting.
here's some stats. That's a great one to do. Then you get into February. Do something that might be bring awareness to a certain charity or something like that, and something that's near and dear. I believe that everybody in real estate at some point in time will have a coach. I don't care if you're in group coaching or so on, and every single time they're going to say, pick a charity, get something, get excited about something, stand for something in what you do. Well, do one of your mailers, do one of your drops.
Yep.
Is something like that, because that's going to show. If I do something and say, "Hey, I'm raising awareness for Children's Cancer and Center and so on," and I put something together, maybe an event, send that out, right? February. So now I get into March. Let's say March. I'm doing a March Madness. I go down to the local restaurant and say, "Hey, I'm putting together. Hey, will you give 10 wings? For anybody that brings this mailer in,
Yep.
compliments of this and this team." And sure, hey, March doesn't have to be complete madness.
Yep.
Enjoy So people love to see those type of things, and also. And I've got a lot of clients that are doing that and sending these out, and they're getting great results because it's turning it from just a pitch to say, hey, this person's actually real. This is what they do. And again, you got to give to get.
Yep. And I want to switch industries to get people think. I often find this helps people understand what we're really saying here. But let's take a local pizza restaurant. Okay. Now, a local pizza restaurant, every time I go into the store and I come out to my parking lot and I find these freaking menus underneath my windshield wiper, right? The local pizza restaurant, like they're not going to market and put their menus or put their brand in front of people that live in a different zip code. They know that their business comes from their local geographic area, but it's essentially the same thing. Every month, I get the same freaking menu put in my mailbox. So after a while,
Yeah.
I'm just like, you know what? This is my go-to pizza place now because it's the first thing I think of. And that's sort of, am I wrong on this? This is sort of what the concept is, just to really
No.
simplify this on behalf of for agents, because I often see so many people overanalyze this, and they're like, "Oh, but I got to look at what the perfect farming market is. I got to look at the turnover rate. I have to do that. I have to do this, dude." At the end of the day, you're building a freaking brand, and you only
Yeah.
do that through consistency and being everywhere. That's period. That's it. This stuff is not rocket science. Is it?
Right. No, I mean, with that, and you're right. You hit it right on the head. I'm a big believer in that. Don't design a mailer, design a campaign. Put something together that's going to, like, today somebody said, hey, I want 12 months. I want a double drop in a couple of these, and here's what I want to do, and let's go through this and really put something strong together. I'm all about that, because I also feel that, Mike, do you believe that if you're just dropping mailers, is that the only thing that you should be doing? Should you be doing any type of follow-up with that? I mean,
Yep.
and I have people ask that. I'm like, absolutely, you should be, hey, do you have some door hangers? Some areas allow that, some don't. If not, you should. I like to take the images. Think about this. Take the images of each month that you're sending out a mailer, and take that, maybe that JPEG or that design, and put it on your Facebook business page and say, hey, keep a lookout in your mailbox for this.
Yep.
Right? Put a message to that. Even if you're doing like a gift mailer, hey, look out for one of these. It's a special gift. Get a free appetizer down at this. If you didn't receive this in your mailbox, let me know. And let's say somebody calls you up and says, hey, I didn't get one of those. Hey, I'll drive it by and drop it off. What's a good time?
Here's what's really, really cool. So like you just hit something great. So imagine you guys, and this is the way, I want you thinking to our listeners, all right? So imagine having a direct mail campaign to X amount of houses. By the way, what's my list size for a farming campaign? Because that's going to be a common question before I go into this.
Just for me, I don't like to drop under 1,000.
Okay,
Per
so 1,000. Okay, got it. So 1,000.
Yeah.
So if 1,000 per drop. Now imagine hitting that same zip code or that same mile radius through Facebook ads, really doing the exact same content, right? Now you're hitting them on social. Now you're also hitting them on direct mail, and now you're really running a brand at that point when you can do that. And that's what my goal is today, is to really get agents on top of mind awareness and how important it is to be thought of in real estate and stand out.
I have a lot of people online, and I have a lot of people doing direct mail, and they'll fight back and forth saying, I get more results out of this, or I get more results out of this. But if you're doing both half-ass, you're not going to get any results on this. So I would say, pick one or pick both of them, but make sure that you're doing everything you need to do on top of that. You're doing the follow-up, you're online, you're pushing things, you're walking the neighborhood, you're meet and greet, you're involved in this. And some are more involved than others. And speaking of Mike Bjorkman, he brought it up. He said, man, I hate doing events in my neighborhood. Did you hear him say that at the
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, I hate doing events. But I loved what he said. He's like, I find somebody within the neighborhood that's on the board or something and say, hey, Sherry, I know you do such a great job. I want to put together a barbecue. If you could go ahead and kind of like put it together, and I'll go ahead and be the main sponsor of it and so on. And at the very end of it, here she is edifying Mike and say, hey, thank you so much for, sponsoring and putting this together and doing this. And it just kind of edified. So if you're not that person, that find somebody and appoint somebody to put an event together within your area. Yep. I'd love that.
Yep.
Because he was like, he hates it. And I was laughing, but he's still doing it because he sees the value in it.
Absolutely.
But like I said, you got to be the expert in that area. You've got to establish yourself. You've got to go through so we're talking about putting images online.
Yeah.
But what about, here's the one thing that I do. If you aren't using a landing page for your mailers, stop.
That was my next thing. I wanted to go through the content of the mailer and like the calls to action on it. Is there anything there to trigger the phone call and all that stuff? So let's get right into that. But before, I was going to finish a point that you just said, and now I totally had a brain fart. So I'm trying to think if I remember that or not. If you think of it, let me know, and I'll get back to it. But the content of the postcards, okay? What is on it? You're talking about local, because this is important, right? Does it?
Yeah.
Do I just need to, what do I need to put in there? Like, what works? What doesn't?
Well, so a lot of the times, if I can do it, I like to take local photos. If they're good photos, take the time, hire a photographer, a couple $100, send them out for the day and say, get me some local photos of the area, not a specific house or home, but just something so that when I put it on a mailer and it's a high resolution, it it doesn't look like it's a template card. It doesn't look like some stock photo that I put on there, because people are able to find, hey, this is just
This
some
is
mailer that was
BS. Right.
generated from the office and so on and so on.
Okay.
And so with that, I would say get some strong photos that are in there, keep it super clean. Your branding, and a lot of people can debate on this. I believe your branding, you, your brand, your image, what you do, and that you are approachable, because
Yep.
people don't won't invest in your services unless they like you and trust you. So
Yep.
what we need to do is get that image. And if your mailer looks like crap, what can they expect on your service?
So
So
let me.
do we judge based upon when you pull something out of the mail and you look at something, do you judge it instantly?
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. Look at the aesthetics
You
of
got
what you're doing.
15 seconds to make an impression. Probably not even that. 10.
Right. Now, here's the other thing. My suggestion, always leave the back of the mailer the same, meaning drive it to that landing page. The general information, the content that's on the back of that mailer, keep it the same. The front of the mailers, change them out. Change out the designs. But again, I'm creating that consistency. They constantly know I've got a different message on the front, same thing on the back
And
all the
it's
time.
local news, more or less, local updates, local stuff that people would want to know about. Am I wrong? And that's pretty much how you're.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is you could follow your holidays and anything like that that you. I mean, we could sit down in the matter of 5 minutes. I could give you one per month of what's a great idea to do. But I think what I've found, a lot of people are trying to get away from template campaigns, because they're
Yep.
just going, people are picking up, it looks like everybody else's. And that's why what I like to do is say, find someone that can design a campaign for you that you get excited about.
Yep.
That you, if I did a template campaign for you, and then you go, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. You're not going to take that image and put it up online and say, hey, keep a lookout for this. But if I did something that was custom and a local, and you go, this is fantastic, you're going to take that JPEG, that image, and you're going to put it up online. And once a month, you're going to see one of those, popping up.
Yep.
So
I
I
agree.
think that I would rather get the agent excited about it, that they want those to hit. They're excited about it. They take some pride into what they're mailing out.
Now, you mentioned a landing page. So the call to action on the actual mailer is what, typically?
Well, we all know what the typical is. What is the true value of your home? I
Yep.
mean, that is, hey, go to this landing page. But I would press you to put something else in there. Put something in there that's, hey, top 5 things to consider when selling your home. Put some, or have a little drop box that says, if you want to know the true value of your home, do you want the top 5 things to consider when selling, top 5 things to consider when buying,
And that's on the back?
or that would just be that would be on the landing page. But the general concept is, the number one is always, hey, what is the true value of your home?
Okay. And then you put that on the back of the postcard or the front?
Yeah, here's what I put it on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it goes in the on the front, same message if that's the message of that mailer, but it's always on the back. Also with a snapshot, and this is important. Take a snapshot of the landing page that you're using and put that image on the back of the mailer. So when they go
Yeah.
to the
Recognition.
actual landing page, there's that ready recognition. They see it, they know it. Hey, I'm at the right place.
So I've been getting into, and we had him on, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. On the show, we had Jesse from Call Action, who was at the event with us in Anaheim. And what we're doing now is I really, really like his concept of the text messaging. So have you
Hmm.
done any, like, and here's the way that he put it up on the show. He's like, all right, so it doesn't really matter. We could do a farming campaign. Like, say you're going after divorced people. And he's like, what's working really well right now is just asking the question directly to that target market. And they have to text in for the answer because it's still creating, it's an easier opt-in than going to a web page that's got a long URL and just, typing it out. So basically he's saying, so if you're going after divorced people, how can a realtor help out with that? And the offer could be like, is she trying to take the house? Or is he trying to
Yeah.
take the house? And then find out, here are your rights. Or a good one is dad's rights. If you've seen a lot of those billboards all over
Sure.
online
Yeah.
on the highways, they're like, is your ex keeping you from seeing your kid? text the answer here, and that's essentially the freaking opt-in. Have you tested that at all yet? And what are your
I'll,
thoughts?
I'll tell you what, Mike. That's where I'm going to throw it back on personality, because not everybody would jump into that campaign, or not everybody would, and it's really going to have to. So that's gonna be where I would talk to and say, is that something that you'd want? How strong do you want your message to be?
Sure.
Right. So on a text message, I don't get into it where we offer that, but if they have a service that they're currently involved in, and I would say absolutely, we put that directly into, and that should be something too. If you are thinking about doing some type of, and you're using a company, I would say ask them, can I add certain services that I have into the campaign?
Sure.
Right? Can you track it? Can I add? I mean, all of those things are important. I've got another client that what he wanted to do is on his landing page, he doesn't want them to put the name in. So because he's thinking, hey, not a lot of people want to put in their name and their address and all of that. So we just did variable data on the front. Put in this number 7759, and we'll send you information that you need based upon,
Sure.
and you can choose what topic in the landing page.
Yep.
So maybe in the mailer, we have something that says, for various topics in real estate to help you in your real estate needs, go to this and put this code, and we'll send you everything that you need.
I like it. I want to give you a real live example about the importance of branding just for our listeners, because this has happened in real time. So I'm, I got an email and I'm looking at here on the side here, and it just popped up. I'm like, what'd she say now? Long story short, so I'm at a brokerage. All right. I understand the importance of branding, and I'm totally just redid my Chicago Real Estate Dude logos, and I'm incorporating the whole team, and I'm on this big branding kick, motivated a lot by Mike Bjorkman, actually, on getting like these, and we're redesigning our signs, right? So the office is, they have a graphic designer in there. They're redesigning the signs, and the office goes like, and she just said, right now she just responds to me, and I'm like, you know what? I really want to black out my sign. I want it black. I want our logo here. I want my brokerage's logo buried like tiny right there. And what she responds is, she's like, well, we really need to keep up some of our brand consistency on here. And I said, well, and I responded and I go, well, so am I. The brokerage doesn't bring me business. Chicago Real Estate Dude does. We're going after the same thing, right? Because what good would my signage do branding FGR? I mean, that's great for the average agent, but I understand what brings in business. And I don't need your branded sign. I need my own branded sign, because that's what's going to build my brand. And at the end of the day, it is my brand that creates the deals, not the company I work for. So just so you guys understand, it's extremely important. Like, you got to be able to build your brand on all fronts, whether it's signage, direct mail farming, your social media. It's got to be consistent.
Yeah, Mike, I can't tell you, I've turned people away because they didn't have certain things. They didn't have proper branding. They didn't have even the photos, the message, how long have you been? Have you farmed before? No. I mean, we're going through all these things, and I'm like, hey, listen, here's what I want you to do. Get me some strong photos. I need to make sure that you've got a proper brand, that the brand is about you, and then let's regroup in next month or so on. If you can do these things, and then let's go back in. And they're like, wait, so you don't want to? I go, I don't want to set myself up for failure.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to look at this and say, I want to support you and help you. And if I can't feel that I can support you 100%, I'm going to question it.
Yep.
So keep in mind, there are a lot of things. I mean, I know you mentioned something about look at the conversion rates, and all of that stuff is important, because if I can go into an area and find out that, and then I find out that 25% of the homes being sold or activity in that is one agent, I know that area is primarily being farmed.
Yep.
So with that, look at, or you may go, I don't care. I'm going to take over this courtyard. This is what I want. This is my farm, and I'm going to take it.
Go ahead.
So,
yeah.
There's a lot of, but if you're starting farming, I would say your call to action in the first 30 days needs to be somewhat strong. And that call to action should be, I don't care if it's about the community but just have a message and go through it. And you said something about humor and be funny but what you may think is funny,
someone else might.
Others may.
I want to run this idea past you. Now I'm thinking, I got my mind racing. What would you think if my offer was, I have a lot of success with this page on my website, and it's basically how to sell your house without an agent.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get hits.
Because I'll be like, and what happens is that I give them my whole marketing. I give them everything. Like, here's how you do your job. Here's how you do my job without me. All right. If you still think you could do it, great. And it's all the forms, the docs, the whole listing marketing plan, everything's in there. And what happens is that, the consumers get overwhelmed. Like, holy shit, this is a lot of work. It's like, well, no shit,
Yeah.
that's a full-time
If you have
job.
questions, let me know.
Yeah, if you have questions, let me know, and then they'll just call back, and they'll just it's funny on how it works once they see what your actual job is. But yeah, it's like sell without selling. I'm gonna definitely try that. All right, let's get this wrapped up. We're just at about 40 minutes. I think this is great. I think we laid out the baseline. Let me just do a quick recap what I see, and tell me if I'm wrong. Here's the recap from this call, you guys. Do not start a direct mail campaign unless you're in it for the long haul, okay? That means 8 months minimum, but pretty much a year's budget. You need about 1,000 homes on the minimum. You need to go and you need to have proper branding before you even worth doing. So if your logo sucks or if you don't even have a logo, wait until you do and then save the money, right? And
Yeah, I would. A couple other things with it, because there should be a part two to this, because there should be, if you're going to farm, think of it this way, Mike, do it better than anyone else. That should be the mindset going into farming an area. You're not just farming to, but I got nothing better to do. Do it better than anyone else. Be that data expert. Act as if. Come from that place that, hey, you're there to stay. And then also, what would you say, how much should you put back into your farming budget?
Yep.
And that's something too.
What is it per card? Like on your cost, just so we give people what's the per? Give me an average. Quote your pricing, but
it's I mean, it can go anywhere from like 48 cents up to I don't think I've ever gone over 70.
That's with print.
2 cents. That's print custom
postage.
design, landing page. That's print to mailbox.
Okay. Cool.
So now, and the size on it ranges from 6.5 by 11 to 8 by 8 to, and then 8.5 by 11 goes up a few cents on that. But again, here's the thing: I can't send an 8 by. I got clients in Denver or in Dallas that are doing 12 by 15 mailers. That's huge. I can't do that in the Bronx.
Is bigger better in?
Bigger can be worse if it's the wrong area. Like if I try to do a 12 by 15 mailer in Queens, New York,
it can't fit in a mailbox. It's like Chicago.
It's not going to work. So where's that 12 by 15? Dallas, Texas. That works. That's their farm area. But what are they putting on
Everything in Texas is bigger.
Yeah, they're putting the just sold. They're putting a community newsletter. They're putting some nice graphics and so on that we're laying out for them. But yeah, I mean everybody is different. How you should farm. We should tweak it a little bit to how the next guy's going to do it. Like, what's the area? You can't cookie cut something. If you go to my website, it says, say no to template campaigns.
I have a good question that you just triggered, and we're going to get this call going. All right. Would you send a just listed, just sold to your farm area, even though the property is not in that farm area?
I've gotten those before, and I've been annoyed with it because I'm thinking this guy's way off. Like that is like not even. But
it's case studies.
Depends on what it looks like. I mean, there's always some. When I get it just sold, it's funny because I'm always looking. Did they put the price on it? Because I'm a believer you shouldn't be putting the price on it. Because if you're serious,
I like the just sold to say just sold, and then I like using the call action service to say, okay, if you want to see the price and if you want to see for how much in the inside, text blah 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 here, and then it sends them the case study on how you sold that house because it gives them the whole story.
Yeah. Or again, a call to action to it for more information. Dude, put this code in. And we'll send you the information.
Did you guys just get what we just talked about right there? That is so freaking dope. I'm pulling a robbery on that. All right. Shane, it's been a pleasure. We hammered this out. We got everything.
Excellent. I'm still sitting here going like, there's probably like, there's so many more topics to cover on this.
Yeah, there's a lot, and let me, if you don't mind, I'm going to pitch your services for you. So, basically, here's why I like Shane. Because when I met Shane, he's like, look, most of the agents that come in, I turn them down because I could tell if I could help them or not. And I don't want their money because, it's a bigger liability and a headache for you. And I thought that was very admirable, which is why I like you. I like the way you do business. So if you guys have questions about farming, you want to set up a direct mail farming or anything like that, check out a bunch of different services. But call Shane. This is what he does for a living. I know several agents he does it for, and they all have one. They're all massive agents, and two, they have nothing but compliments. But Shane, go ahead and tell our listeners what you do, how to reach you, and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was that good,
Thank
too?
you
Was that
so
good
much,
enough?
Mike. I really appreciate it. It's always good to be on here. I can't wait to do it again. We just have to pick another topic. But yeah, if you go to Homes to Value, Homes the number two value.com, there's information there, or you can go to facebook.com/homes to value, and you can get a lot of. There's a couple videos there. I'm going to be updating and putting some new videos on homestovalue.com that just some tips to consider, exactly
Sure.
the things that we're talking about. And so with that, or give me a call direct. I'd love to talk to you about it if you just want to throw some ideas around. And that's 727-463-8201. And yes, I'm based out of Tampa, Florida.
Nice.
So
Well, I really do appreciate it. And you're actually going to have some of your training on videos and direct mail farming in a tractor.
yes, I've got on a tractor, and that's the funny you say that, because I have one of the slides that I do. I put "Let's talk farming," and you see a little yellow sign with a tractor and a guy on it, and say, "Hey, why do they call it farming? You got to do it more. You can't just plant a seed
Yep.
and expect it to grow overnight."
Well, I got you now on the record on when that's going to be done. That's why I just did that. Ha 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 ha. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for listening. Shane Pendley, Class Act, hell of a marketer in Tampa, helping realtors all around the country. If you guys have any additional questions, you guys know how to find us. Very, very simple. Visit our website, realestatemarketingdude.com. It's a free real estate mini course of various marketing activities, but everything we talk about is attraction based. No cold calls, no prospecting. Leave that for the salespeople. We are in service, and that's it. I am out, and thanks again, Shane.
Thank you.